My name is Eliza, and this is not an ordinary story. This is a memory that never left me, a memory that lives deep inside my heart, like a quiet whisper that refuses to fade. Some memories stay with us forever, even when the people in them are gone. It began on a slow gray morning, the kind of day when the sun hides behind soft clouds and the air feels still, like time itself has stopped. I was cleaning my grandmother's old house, a place filled with the smell of books, dust, and lavender. Every corner of that house had a story. Every picture frame had eyes that seemed to follow me. But there was one thing that always caught my attention, a wooden chair by the window, old, cracked, and faded by years of sunlight. Yet somehow it always felt alive. When I was little, my grandmother used to warn me, Eliza, never touch that chair. It belongs to someone who isn't here anymore. I never asked her who she meant. I just nodded, thinking it was one of her old stories. That morning, something felt different. The air was heavier, quieter. I walked toward the chair, and when I placed my hand on its armrest, it felt warm. Not like wood, not cold. Warm, as if someone had just been sitting there. My heart started beating faster. Then I heard it, like a sound, soft and gentle, like someone breathing behind me. I turned around quickly, but the room was empty. Still, I could feel something, a presence, quiet but real, standing just behind my shoulder. That night, I couldn't sleep. The wind outside whispered through the trees, brushing against the windows, moving the curtains in slow waves. I thought of my grandmother, her voice, her hands, her smile. She always sat near that chair every evening, reading her Bible, humming softly. I remembered her words. Some goodbyes are never said with words. Some live inside empty chairs. At the time, I didn't understand what she meant, but now, alone in that room, I began to understand. Love doesn't disappear. It changes its shape. The next morning, the sunlight fell across the floor, landing directly on the chair. And then, for a brief moment, I saw her, my grandmother, her white dress glowing, her kind eyes smiling at me. I blinked, and she was gone. But I knew, deep in my soul, she had been there. I whispered, "I miss you," and the curtain moved softly as if someone sighed in reply. That was the day I learned something I will never forget. Love never dies. It only changes where it lives. Tears filled my eyes, but they weren't from fear. They were from love. Because I finally knew she never really left me. Every time I looked at that chair, I could feel her, watching, listening, protecting. It's been 3 years now. 3 years since that morning, when the chair became empty. 3 years since I last heard his voice. 3 years since our home learned to live with silence. But some silences are not empty. They're full of words we never said and love we never stopped feeling. One rainy afternoon, while cleaning the attic, I found an old wooden box covered in dust, tied with a faded blue ribbon. My hand shook as I opened it. Inside were his glasses, a few old photographs, and an envelope, yellowed and soft, with my name written in his handwriting. I froze. The room felt still. Even the rain outside seemed to wait with me. I opened the letter slowly, and as I read, my heart began to ache, and Hil Abgyowas at the same time. He wrote, "My dear Lena, if you are reading this, it means I couldn't say goodbye the way I wanted. Please don't cry too long, because I never left you. I just went ahead to wait somewhere better." He wrote about his dreams for me, how he wanted me to travel, to see the ocean, to laugh even when it hurt, and to never stop believing that love never ends. He said, "Every morning when you make your tea, smile once for me and once for yourself, because life continues and so does love. Tears fell on the paper, blurring the ink, but I didn't stop reading. I couldn't. In that moment, it felt like he was sitting across from me again, smiling softly, his hand resting near mine. That night, I placed the letter on the table beside his cup and whispered, "I found you, Papa." The chair didn't look empty anymore. It looked alive, as if time had folded, bringing his presence back to me. From that day on, I began to write letters to him too, not to send them anywhere, but to keep talking, to keep remembering. Sometimes I tell him about my day, sometimes I tell him how much I miss him, and sometimes I just sit in silence, because silence is where I hear him best. Every morning, I still make 2 cups of tea, one for me and one for him, and I place the letter beside his cup so he knows that even now, I'm still his little girl and he's still my father.